Da da da.
Da-da-na-na-na.
Dum dum dum.
Cha-cha.
Welcome back.
Yeah, hey. It's been, don't know, 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this is Brent and
Chris!
We Talk.
We do talk. And this is a good one again. I've been excited. We have to take some time off. We were filming last week.
Yeah.
Compiling footage for an upcoming...
Project.
That's a great word to describe
Brent
it
and Chris
point.
Enterprises here, and we have new things on the horizon.
Yeah. The podcast is last year. We're still doing it, of course, but, we wanted to just add to our very busy lives.
Well, I was going to say, we can't keep things simple, otherwise that would be boring.
Right. They say, what is it? I can't remember who said it. You only get one life, but if you live it right, that's enough. Google it. You'll probably find who said it.
Hey, that makes sense.
Oh, so things we need to focus. I'm going to say this on air.
Yep.
So people can comment and say if we did it well or not.
Okay.
We're going to have to talk at a consistent volume.
Yes.
And we have to probably try and talk towards the mic a little
Yes.
bit, too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're going to try not to bang on the table.
Correct.
So if you're listening to SoundCloud...
I'm clenching my hands together so I don't bang on the table.
I know, my hands are
deafen
nice
you.
in my lap. Yep, I'm ready.
Yes.
So how was your week? Weeks?
The weeks fly
Honestly,
by.
I can barely remember this week, so 2 weeks seems like a stretch for me.
Yeah.
I have to open this dink soda, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry on SoundCloud,
Yeah,
folks.
whatever, dude.
I should have done pre-game.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think he owes you all one for that. Anyways, weeks were good. I mean, fast. As always, just kind of blow by. But I think that with all the, what do you want to say? The clandestine projects we're working on now that we want to reveal so desperately. And we're going to talk a bit about this. But not reveal too much because we still want to keep you, on the edge of your seats waiting to know what we've been up to.
Yes.
So yeah, just that whole thing's been like in the back of my mind every second of every day, and kids and hanging out with the wife and doing work, and here we are. And it was funny, like up till I got here, texting and think life keeps coming up, and we're just like, when are we going to do it? Today, tomorrow, Sunday?
I made the Facebook post, and I was like, I don't know if I should have done that.
I know. Well, I read it, and I'm like, shit, I need to call him.
Yeah.
And just make sure we get everything figured out. And so at the end of the day, it was just meant to be. Had to happen.
Had to happen. We're here. Worked out.
Yeah.
We'll document a live too late on Facebook for anyone to watch, but...
Yeah. Hey, it's all good.
We'll do it.
Your weeks?
Good. 2 weeks. Let's see. So, we had a big scare with Harry. We were in the hospital, found out he has juvenile ketotic hypoglycemia. And basically what we got from this is he doesn't have enough fat on him. And if he was just recovering from a stomach bug, so that probably didn't help anything either. And after a long night of sleeping, fasting, he was starting to break down protein for energy. So when we woke up, his temperature was 93 degrees, blood sugars were in the low 40s. Take him to the emergency room, spent the night there. Things are good. We have to check blood sugars now in the morning, and doctor said to fatten him up. But out of a litany of very, very scary things, this is the most ideal thing.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
Thankfully, it could be a lot worse.
Absolutely. So we're very thankful. We were at the Children's Hospital, and those people are amazing. So we spent a night there on the ICU. Can I go ahead and be that guy that says they are amazing? Everyone there is amazing, and I need to buy them donuts or coffee or something because they made it way less scary than it could have been. They were just really interactive with my kid, and he made him feel good. It's the most uncomfortable couch, though.
Oh, yeah.
For the dads to sleep on. Chell slept with him. I'm trying to sleep on this couch. And they gave you these blankets. And I'm like, okay, I'll use the blankets as a pillow.
Yeah.
No. Somehow they don't hold any air. It's like a mystery to me. You fold them together and they compress instantaneously into some sedimentary rock.
It's probably not comfortable at that point. Then if it's
No, it's
around.
bad. It was bad. So like, and I was,
Wow.
and they were coming checking Harry every 3 hours. He's beeping. The machines are beeping. It's not comfortable. So I'm not really sleeping. And I hung out until 6:30, by which point, every other like child there was waking up and like.
Yeah, like you said, scared,
crying, and stuff like that. And I'm still used to having a baby, so like, definitely
You're on edge. Yeah.
cannot tune that out at all. Like, and so I waited till Chelsea got up, and I'm like, I'm gonna go get some sleep. And I woke up to them saying, "Hey, we get to come home."
Which is
so
awesome.
It was, it's good. It's good. So we're doing a carnations to breakfast nighttime before bed, and that seems to help. And checking his blood sugars every day in the morning. He's getting used to that, which is amazing for a 3-year-old. Like, sticks his finger out, picks different fingers, and he's got it down.
Yeah. Man, it's better than me.
I know. Seeing him with an IV, it was a lot. It was all a lot for any parent.
Yeah.
So, we should do a whole show on this, but at the same time, we've done so many on them. Let's just do it now. Impeachment Wrapup.
Oh yeah, it's got to come to an end. And it has come to an end.
Has come to an end.
Acquittal, not exoneration. Acquittal.
Yeah. So, biggest issues I take with it is there were no witnesses.
Yeah.
And 75% of America wanted witnesses, which, here's the funny thing. Anytime the Democrats put any stock in a Republican to save the day, to come through, like with Mueller, or anybody else. Bolton. But that's the thing. They thought Bolton was going to come and be their savior. Mm-hmm. And I think Bolton was going to be a dud. I think he may have said, something as damaging as maybe Sondland did or something. But I don't think he would have come through as the smoking gun we needed him to be.
Probably not.
And the Republicans took the bait on that. And I don't understand that. So they went against 75% of the country and said no witnesses, and then a few days later they acquitted him of both counts of articles of impeachment.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
And then except for one Republican.
Yeah, Mitt. I was surprised.
I thought it was a wonderful speech he did.
I listened to it too.
Yeah, I'm not much of a man of faith these days. I appreciate religion and the good it does. I also see the bad it does and the hypocrisy that gets intermingled.
Sure.
It's
complicated.
It's complicated, and so when he gave his speech about how his oath before God required him to take the vote seriously. Mm-hmm. I just, that's what when I think of a Christian and Christian values, that's what I thought of. And I get he's a Mormon, but all the same, I think a lot of people that resonated with people.
Yep. I agree. It's just a statement about wanting to uphold his word, Yeah. And based on what he believed was right. And I think that if you can't do that, then what can you do? I sure as heck don't want you in the Senate. So.
He knew what it would cost him, too.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see ultimately what it will cost him. But he's certainly...
Trump's not a forgetful kind of guy when it comes to vendettas.
Which I think is interesting. Like, they've wasted no time in firing people that testified. Like, honestly, how can you not make... That's one issue I have.
That was the last point I had.
Is like they're actually already firing people and removing them from their positions, like recalling Sondland. I think Vindeman got fired today.
Yep.
I'm sure there'll be others. Oh, crap, I can't remember her name. The ambassador, she retired.
Yeah.
Because they brought her back and we're going to put her anywhere else. I can't remember her name. Yeah.
Marie Yovanovitch.
And that's just crazy. Like, I think that Vindeman guy's probably got lawyers and that Sondland guy's probably got him, but who knows if he'll make a stink about it. But I think it's interesting.
Army, so do they? I mean, they fire him, but what? They just move him to a new post?
Yeah, I think it's a new post, but I think that there's a statement there too to be made about retaliation for just testifying altogether. But I don't know. Maybe he did do something that we don't know about in terms of like maybe he was ordered to not testify and he defied the order. I don't know. And there could be something there that we just don't understand.
It's a good point. That's good. And more, I'm sure more will come out. I'm sure more will come out by the time we put this out 2 days from now.
Yeah.
Because time is...
It's a warp.
It's a warp nowadays. Everything just keeps happening.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, those are the two things that bother me. The no witnesses at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I said. I posted about it. I couldn't help it. It's as simple as if he truly was just innocent and it was perfect, the people that were closest to him would just testify, prove that there's nothing wrong with it, and then there would be no impeachment trial, right? But then why wouldn't they do that? Because he's guilty. Like he had to have done something for them to not want anything to come out.
And I've gotten into this with people on Facebook that claim, well, the Republicans didn't get to call any witnesses. Look at the witness list. They wanted, and tell me how it all exonerates Trump and just didn't further smear the Bidens, which is what Trump did in the first place, that got impeached. I mean...
Yeah, and I think that there's something to be said about... I showed you those articles about how they're already still going after that.
You did send me that.
I believe it's requests from... I can't remember whom is requesting it. Oh, senators. Grassley and some of the guys in the committees in the Senate, the Republicans.
Going after the Bidens.
Yeah, and they're requesting secure financial filings, which, I mean, I believe is they're right, but what I find so hypocritical about it is it's almost like the White House expedited those requests, and then on the flip side, completely stonewalled any requests to prove their own innocence. Yeah. So that's just it. You know, I mean, call it what you will, it's a double standard. Yeah. So what other conclusion should you make unless it's, you know, your team and you just want to win, right? And that everyone seems to be behind that's supporting Trump, then you're fine with it, right? But all the rest of us are left thinking to ourselves, this is crazy. You're setting a terrible precedent. Like, when the shoe's on the other foot and this kind of crap happens, you know it. Like, we were talking the other day about how crazy people can get, and it scares the heck out of me to think that things might flip a 180 at some point, you know, and be the other way around. And that's even more... It just opens up the door for one-upping and then trying to get one back at each other. And we've already got a standard now where people in Congress now feel that they can decide what president gets to decide what decisions are made of long consequence, like Supreme Court justices even getting hearings and things like that. You know, I'm going to stick on that one forever. Like, that was the beginning of the end to me when McConnell said Merrick Garland gets no hearings.
You make a really good segue into our...
Tangent.
No, it's good. It makes for a really good segue because we've been watching Edward Snowden videos. Yeah. And it gets us to our main topic tonight, talking about...
Well, you said in our Facebook post how your phone's spying on you, but that's just one thing that's spying on you.
I'll stick mainly to that tonight.
Yeah, we're being spied on right now.
Correct.
My phone's in my pocket, your phone's in your pocket.
And we're going to tell you what that says about you in just a moment. But one of the things Edward Snowden talks about is turnkey tyranny. Saying that just because you're okay with your party doing it, and you have to be aware if it sets a precedent for the next party to do it, that they may not be your party. You know, I'm sorry, it's an obvious statement. But sure. In America... Every 8 years, we have a chance for a complete change of regime, forced. I mean, but when you change party, that's more what I'm talking about. Yep. And we need to be comfortable with giving the other side the power.
Correct.
And
have faith they're going to do things in good faith.
In good faith.
Yeah.
Right.
There's give and take in politics. If you smother the other side, you just create an insurgency. Yeah. Right? And revolt. Yeah. That's all you do is create, like, strident enemies. And some of the books I've read that I've found that one of the points that was made was that you're much better off if you're going to make an enemy having gained something for it. Sure. And if you don't gain anything for it, you'll have made an enemy for nothing. And you just lose.
That's wonderful.
You know, and I think that's what's happening.
Yeah. So we're very close friends.
Yep.
Family.
Yep.
Been friends for over half our lives. Would you feel comfortable with me knowing everywhere you were at every moment?
You know, honestly, I would probably worry about you and like my wife the least in the world.
Sure, I understand.
So I think I wouldn't have a problem with like my immediate family knowing my whereabouts at any given second.
Now, what if I could turn on the camera in your phone at any time?
Yeah, I wouldn't really want that.
Or if I could turn on your microphone?
I don't know if you'd want that. Like, what if I was taking a wicked dump?
Fair.
You're like, hey, oh, this is the wrong time to tune in. Brent TV's turning off.
Yeah. No. What about your microphones, though?
Yeah.
And I could record your conversations or your browser history.
Mm-hmm.
And if I knew everything... the thing I'm getting at here is in this modern day and age, they used to say, like, a man's home is his castle.
Yep.
And now that's our cell phone.
Your home is it's a castle. It's holding you captive.
That's right. But we put more information on our cell phones.
Yep.
Than we have probably in our homes.
Everything.
Right. Yeah. Passwords, emails, text messages. Banking, mortgage, maybe.
All your retirement stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's all there. Social Security.
So I'm going to take us back in time.
We're going to do a bit of a time warp here.
Whoa.
Yeah. We can get to 85 miles an hour, but you get the point.
We're in the 70s.
Yep.
And,
Groovy.
And I was gonna say
far out, man.
I was gonna play the character, but the character's a bad guy, and I just played it out in my head, and why I need to not do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, we're not going to. There's a pervert. That's the sense we'll use. And he is calling a lady. All right?
Ring, ring, ring.
Ring, ring, ring. And he's just doing the pervert thing, breathing into the phone, inappropriate, whatever, okay? And the lady notices this pattern that after this happens, a car will slowly drive by her house. So she gets the license plate of this car, and she calls the police and says, this is happening, and I have this license plate. So they run the license plate, and they get an address. So they find the phone number to that address, call the phone company, and ask them if they can have the pen register, otherwise known as the dialed number recorder.
Okay.
To find out if this is the number that's calling this house. And the phone company gives it over to them. It's their guy. Guy's arrested. So the guy's lawyer argues that the court, or that the law enforcement never actually got a subpoena to get that information.
They just asked for it.
And that goes against his Fourth Amendment right to avoid inappropriate, right to have privacy, excuse me. So,
wow.
This takes us all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the case is Smith versus Maryland in 1979. So the Supreme Court of the United States held that the installation and use of a pen register or dialed number recorder, and now it is held that also this includes any device or program that performs similar functions to the pen register, which they now lump in programs monitoring your internet communications on your phone and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They claimed that you don't own that. That's not your information. That is actually the phone companies or the internet companies' information, and that therefore you have no
right to it.
Mm-hmm. And they use the Freedom of Information to get that information. And I mean, they didn't have to back then; it wasn't around.
Just did it.
But the phone companies gave it over to them because they wanted to help, you know. And so. This is a 1979 case that was never ever intended to encompass cell phones or the internet. It couldn't
computers, all of it.
Yes, it couldn't have possibly been envisioned to this. So what is it? Thurgood Marshall.
Oh yeah.
Yep, he's a
good old Thurgood.
We talked about him. He wrote the second dissent opinion, and in that it says, the privacy of placing calls is of value not only to those engaged in criminal activity.
Yeah.
You agree? You wouldn't want just anybody and everybody to know who you're
Correct. The
talking
principle
to.
is, like, I have a right to some privacy.
Right, and I stand by that too.
I don't have a right to break the law, but I have a right to privacy.
Right, absolutely. And I bet his head would explode if he saw the way it was twisted and used today to lump in our cell phone data and our internet data and stuff like that. So let's talk about phones, because that was our...
Yeah. That's what spurred it all.
Do you know what the IMEI is?
I've heard that term, but please remind me.
It's the International Mobile Equipment Identity.
Yep, that's for the handset itself.
For the handset itself, right?
Yep.
And you cannot change that.
Mm-hmm.
You can change your SIM card, but don't worry, because for that there's the IMSI,
Right.
which is your International Mobile Subscriber Identity.
Yes, that's you who own the number.
That is you who owns the number, and that SIM card in that phone is unique. It is assigned to you. It becomes part of your identity in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So now we all know cell towers, right?
Yep.
And your phone, even when, like now, it is now just sitting in your pocket, it is looking for cell towers, and it's saying, "I'm here.
Yep.
I'm here."
Even with your location services off,
right?
it's pinging you.
Because what if someone wants to call Brent? Well, that cell tower would know, I have Brent's number right here in my vicinity.
How else is it going to reach you if it doesn't know where you're at?
Right, and so now when Brent drives back home tonight in a neighboring town, he's going to be tracked
From different tower to tower.
from different tower to tower. They will literally be able to know where he's at for how long he is there.
Yep.
And that's kind of information that you couldn't get before cell phones without having to maybe pay a private investigator or actually be followed.
Someone to compile it.
Somebody to compile that.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that you could just get on everybody that has a cell phone at one time. And I love Edward Snowden used this term. It was operational security. You had to actually do something, like there was an operation involved, and now it just all becomes so simple.
Yeah.
So we have the cell towers tracking you, they're tracking your phone, okay?
Definitely.
Now, all that data about where you go, it's stored, because we now live in a world where records collected about us don't belong to us, based off this 1979 SCOTUS ruling. So our data is a commodity.
Correct. It's traded and sold. Companies collect it, and then they sell it largely to each other, and there's data warehousing companies. There's like over 400 of them that I heard about on NPR the other day.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that's their thing, and some of them are specialized, others are more just gather everything, anything and everything. And it's so interesting. All this information is coming together, different articles, and it's all like related to one another with like the data companies, the companies getting it and then selling the data. That was one thing I heard about through an article, or heard on the radio through an interview and some other things. There was some reporting they had. And then the cell phone article, I think Courtney mentioned it to me a while back, but Forbes popped up, and I read the article they put out there, which is just a simple thing about how basically your phone, it's always listening, right? In terms of like when you, especially apps, because your microphone's active, right?
Right.
But apps in particular, when you download them, they default to turn on their microphone setting to where it can listen to you. And in that fine print, basically, it's not just so it can pick up whatever, like when you say, hey, I'm not going to say it because I don't want my phone to light up. But you know what I mean? When you say, hey, to your iPhone and you want it to do something, it's not just that listening, because it is active listening for that, by the way.
Right.
But your apps themselves, there's triggers. And this, that's actually one of the things that made me want to go do this. I read more about it was Courtney and I were talking about our special Brent and Chris.
Yep.
Chris and Brent. whichever way you want to do it. Enterprise is
We just keep switching
our
them
little
every
skunk.
other horse.
Yeah, we're going to keep you confused, so you'll never know.
Which is coming.
Our little special Enterprise, and she said the very next day her phone was putting ads out, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because she never
For that
what
we're interested in.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so it was doing that to her, and she said, I don't get this. Like, I never search for this stuff, and I wasn't searching for it on her phone at all, right? And so it was doing that to her, and we looked on her thing, because you can go on your phone settings, and actually, I would recommend this. You could turn off, and it's not going to solve all your problems, by the way.
Right.
But you can turn off the app's ability to listen in on you.
Interesting.
And so you have that problem, right? So it's literally spying on you. And what causes that, I read, is these, the term is triggers. And so, like, there's thousands of trigger words you can say, like baseball, like purchase a car, like a phrase even. These words, I want to buy something. Like, these are trigger words. Music, lessons, like all these words. Well, it's going to trigger your phone, and your phone will literally help you out and suggest different things for you to buy or be interested in. It's just crazy.
And now Brent brings a good word into this. Help you out. I like a lot of the things that this happens on. I do like the ads that are actually targeted. Yeah, sure. I do.
It has to learn from you to do that. That's for sure.
But the primary threat against our security right now is this bulk collection of data. Mm-hmm. And you can't talk about bulk collection of data without talking about PRISM and FISA.
Yep.
And PRISM was like the code name for collecting this bulk data that...
Is it the NSA?
Yeah, that the NSA would then get from Google and our other internet companies and stuff. Mm-hmm. And FISA is another thing that Snowden turned over was, or outed, I guess you could say, was the FISA program, which was how the government was going about spying on Americans.
It's a big deal for Trump.
Yes, right. Exactly. Trump supporters will understand this. So the FISA words were interesting. And again, this is still going on. The bulk collection is still going on.
Yep.
The big issue that you're talking about, too, is like most of us, we don't know what our phones are doing.
No.
And the internet companies and app companies and everything have done a very good job of giving us licensing agreements that none of us read. We just click accept on because we just want to get on Facebook we just want to get...
It's a burden with legalese.
Yes.
To go through. Even if you did go through it, a lot of it's so complicated you really don't understand what their point is.
To quote Snowden from, I think, his Rogan interview, he said, if there was a button you could push on your phone that said, don't spy on me, you would press it. You know, pretty simple. And like the other thing he brought up is we need to control what servers our phones are interacting with. Like if I want to get on Facebook just to view someone's photos or just to have the news feed, I should be able to have just my information go to that. I should have the ability to say, I don't want this to go into the ads. Sure. I don't want this for that.
Yeah.
And that means we might have to pay for Facebook.
I mean, honestly, in order to protect something, I think that's part of what you were talking about. They own the data. That's what we're paying them with is the data.
And I couldn't find that.
We get the app for free, so they basically get the data to mine and learn about us and sell.
And you Google it. It's an interesting fact. I'll find it and put it in our Brent Chris Talk. But they've estimated how much it would actually cost, our data actually cost. It's a low number. It's a number that we could probably afford and have a lot more...
For each individual to pay for it. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And even like Facebook had that deal with that, I can't remember, surveying company or something. They're the ones who had the data leak last year. It was about politics and how it influenced the election. Something Analytica.
Oh yeah, Analytica.
It was.
No, I know what you're talking about now.
I know. It's out there.
Yeah.
I'm grasping at it. Hopefully, some of you folks listening are like, "Oh man, it's this!" You're screaming at your phone, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's just what I'm getting at, though. We're not paying for the data. Facebook owns it, so we get the free app to access to all this stuff in social media. They get all our data, and then they give it to that darn company that ends in Analytica.
Yeah. Cambridge.
Yes.
Cambridge Analytica.
Yes.
Yes!
Go you, man.
So,
yeah.
It takes a little bit.
So, it's those things.
It's in the mind palace.
I know. So, yeah, it's amazing how that they've commoditized the data aspect, and
Right.
it's not just like, sorry to segue too much here, but
No.
it's not just the government and like Facebook, like social media. I was reading about how car companies are doing the same thing.
You told me
Yeah,
about that.
so it's everything from how when you get in your car and you take your phone and you plug it into the console, so it like gets your music, or if you want to like I don't know, have it do something else. Like, I think you can access apps through my truck is not that new, so I don't have these features. But
Neither is mine.
basically, when
Chelsea's.
you plug your phone into your car, it immediately downloads all your personal data.
Oh, like the Apple iPlay, or I can't remember what it's
Yeah,
called.
whatever
Apple
that sync
Play.
is, it literally will download into a hard drive on the car. If your car is older, it'll just keep it on the car, but it downloads all that. They know that because some people went to a rental car place, got a car, took it, and they hacked into that computer. They plugged their stuff in, hacked into the computer, and it knew the hardware store. The guy stopped it on the way there to get some tape. And then he looked at other people who had rented the car and had like their people's pictures from their contacts with their phone numbers and when they called them, how often, and like the trips they went on. And that was stored on the computer in the car. And then the other thing is, all these new cars that have access to the internet, even if you don't pay for it, they're constantly accessing the internet and talking to the manufacturer because they want to just update, right? But it's tracking everywhere you go the same way your phone is. It knows where you're going. It knows how fast you're going. It knows if you brake hard. It knows if you steer, how many G-forces you're putting the car under, if you accelerate too fast. All this crap that the insurance companies that would love to have a hold of to try to screw you out of more money.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but...
And this is a twofold problem, because businesses want this data because it's profitable. Government wants this data because they claim it can help prevent terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
We'll get to that part, though.
And the auto manufacturers have so much of it, they don't even know what to do with it.
That's the biggest problem. Most of these companies are collecting data. They have no idea what to do with it. They just want the data.
Yeah. It's going to be useful for something.
I'm going to circle around a few things. One
Good.
thing on the phone, the scariest thing about your phone is you can't tell if it's being hacked or if it's been hacked.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's just going to act normal.
Yeah, and in that Edward Snowden video on Vice he was doing Shane Smith's phone, and he took out the camera off the phone. He took out all the microphones on it, and so he's like, well, how do I talk with it? He's like, well, you need earbuds with the microphones, but other than that, you took everything out of his phone. And like, it had, I think, 3 or 4 microphones in it. It was
Wow.
like a listening array, which makes sense for stereo recordings and stuff. But
Yeah. Wow.
good interviews, and they'll all be in the links below, so if you want to check them out, we'll post all that.
Yep.
So I'm going to talk about every Republican's calendar girl, Dianne Feinstein.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby.
So, Feinstein called out the CIA for spying on the committee that was set to oversee the CIA. They were actually overseeing the CIA and their
How funny is that?
the torture stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so while the committee is researching it, they noticed that that files they were reviewing were pulled. Like, one day they're there, next day they're not there. And so Dianne Feinstein called them out, and eventually she was proved right when leaked letter from the CIA showed an apology from the head of the CIA for stealing the files. Utter embarrassment. Oh, it wasn't linked. It was through the Freedom of Information Act. They got this email. Was never meant to be released. You know, but Dianne Feinstein was right. The CIA, who needs to be overseen. God, we're gonna get hacked. We're gonna get hacked. We're gonna get spied on.
Well, you just mentioned like 50 trigger words. Like,
I know. So Diane's committee was literally tasked with overseeing the CIA, and if they were torturing people and what that meant, and they weren't able to do it because they were being prevented by the CIA. I mean, there's just so many problems with all of this. After 9/11, the VP conspired with top officials at the NSA to change the culture of surveillance in this country, excuse me, and it really led to some kind of frightening developments. And one of them is the IMSI catcher, IMSI, which is your SIM card.
Yeah.
It was a IMSI catcher, and what it does is it basically tricks your phone into thinking that it is a cell tower. And your cell tower, it'll then ping your data off of it, off this thing. They're notorious for popping up in places like airports. They're small, they're portable, you can fit them in a briefcase, you could park in a parking lot, and you could just catch everyone's information.
Really?
Some of them can be used to collect your text messages, they can collect your phone calls, they are pretty affordable. There's actually websites you can go to of companies that will sell them to you, which just seems utterly terrifying. They're called Finfisher, and they sell these to governments at like arms markets, so governments can maintain control over their people. And
What?
It gets worse.
This is some freaking crazy stuff.
It gets worse. They were very, very much kept under wraps in our country. They were not meant to be known. And what that means is it was not meant to be known that the police departments are using them. That came out, that the police were using them in I can't see the website, I think it was New York Times. It's in the links below, people.
Jeez.
2008 to 2016, over 1,000 uses of the IMSI catchers were used by the New York Police Department, averaging over 200 times a month, 200 times a year. These also can be called stingrays, and they can also be called cell site simulators. And again, some can be used to gather not just location data, but can eavesdrop on calls. Some cost upwards of $500,000, but that's like anything government spending. I'm sure you can buy a screwdriver for $25,000.
That's what they probably wrote down there, like,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, we need a new toolbox, $500,000.
Right, exactly.
They went and bought this thing.
Right. So, now, if you're not understanding why these are good, imagine you're looking for a known suspect, and you need to find out if he's home. Police drive over with the Stingray, and they turn it on. They're able to catch everybody's phone number in that area and find out if their guy's home.
Sure.
Think about missing persons. Someone's abducted or kidnapped. They could drive around, and if their cell phone's on, I read a report that said it was off, but I couldn't find that backed up anywhere else. It was a one-site thing that said even if their phone was off, they could still ping their phone to get the location data. So,
because I don't know what Snowden said about the phones is like it needs power.
It has to have juice.
Yeah. So I almost wonder like if it's residual power that make it work.
But what he said is there's next level stuff. He called them like voodoo hacks where they can make your phone appear to be off.
Yeah.
Because you can't get your battery out anymore.
Most phones.
Most phones, yeah, there are some new ones. So, that's scary, right? Now, that's scary. And now, in 2011, police have to get a warrant. But it was kept a secret for a really long time. Like, it was being used all the way back in 2008. Scary side project. There was this Army project called Shenanigans, which is great. And they thought, you know what we could do? Well, let's put it on an airplane. So that's what they did in Yemen. They stuck a Stingray or a cell site stimulator, IMSI, whatever, on an airplane. They'd fly it over, and they were able to monitor where the terrorists were.
Dude. So that means it has some crazy range.
Oh, guess what? Only took 6 months for it to be used domestically in America. Most of the time when they used it, they were flying actually over protesters instead of other people. Again, links are below, people. Like, this is all verified and from way better journalists than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, these aren't like out there stories. So, September 3rd, 2015, the Justice Department announced a enhanced policy for use of cell site simulators. Basically, data of other people's phones collected must be deleted daily, and the search warrant must be issued for probable cause, and they're also only allowed to be used for location and not the
Full data transfer and all that.
yeah, but like, they'll never abuse it, right? Just saying. That one's conspiracy. So after Snowden, all this came out, and Obama was kind of in a sticky spot, so he had 2 independent reviews come in. The first one is the Liberty and Security in a Changing World. The second one was the Privacy and Civil Liberty over State Board.
Okay.
They came up with pretty much a 42-point plan of policies that needed to be removed, changed, whatever.
It's like a government operation and a half. A 42-point plan.
42 things that needed to be repealed or changed.
Jeez.
That were not good.
Jeez.
Since then, 3 of them have been adopted.
I'm surprised that those 3 haven't been reversed under the current administration.
I know, and I need to look that up, too.
Right now, it's probably like a
that's one thing.
5,000-point plan.
I know, dude. I know. And, so, one of the other things I just have to throw out there, the other thing that they found was since 2001, after 9/11 and this bulk collection began, bulk collection has stopped 0 terrorist attacks. Doesn't even work. Because, Snowden quote here, man, I can't remember what it is.
I bet you I know what you're going to say, but say it.
Which one? Is it it's the net one.
No, I don't think I've heard it, but I think I know what you're going to say about these terrorists.
When you cast a net too wide, when you collect everything, you understand nothing.
Yep.
Great quote from Snowden. That was in the Vice interview.
That's funny. I kind of thought, too, that, yeah, the terrorists are using all this stuff, but those guys are using lower technology. They probably know all this stuff, too. They're probably avoiding it.
I mean, that's
Crazy.
the thing. That's what Snowden said, too, though. He's like, look, I live in a world because I'm highly tracked where I use Faraday cages and take my phone apart and do stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is, you don't want to be battling the government, NSA. You don't want to be battling it. Like, you are not going to win. If they have money, if they have resources to put on something, they will get to you. They will find you.
Mm-hmm.
Phones just make it way easier nowadays.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, another thing I was going to mention, another device that's spying on you. Not only, like your home device, home assistants like Alexa and Google Assistant and whatever the heck else.
Eavesdropping.
Yeah, those do for sure. And Amazon got called out on it because people were like able to access other people's homes and like listen. Yeah. Just kind of like the what was that brand of camera that got hacked?
Oh, the
You know what I'm talking about. It wasn't Nest. It was somebody else.
Yeah, it was
But it was like the turned on a camera in a person's
in a
bedroom.
girl's room.
Yeah,
I would freak out.
no doubt. So not only those,
Owl? I don't know.
but your TV.
Yeah, I've heard that one too.
Samsung TVs. So I was listening to a Joe Rogan with this Mike Baker, I think's his name, the former CIA guy. Love listening to that guy.
Yep.
Interesting stuff. Check it out. But he's like, yeah, just look along the frame of your TVs, and you'll see a camera there, and a lot of them have mics too. So I have a pretty new Samsung TV in my front room. I took a look in the dark with a flashlight because I knew that I could then see through the clear.
Mm-hmm.
I have not yet. I didn't get up on a ladder, so I don't know if I saw the top part very well.
Does your wife know what you're doing?
I don't think she was home at the time. If you're listening to this, honey, I was not doing anything bad. The neighbors are probably like,
honey, what'd you lose?
the neighbors are probably like, I knew he was crazy. I knew he was crazy. Sorry. So, I didn't see anything, but I fully believe that guy's story about. I looked at all my TVs. Most of them are old.
Wasn't that 2015 though?
I don't know.
It was. I thought it was a few years ago that came back. I think once they get caught, they change and they move.
I don't know, man. I didn't take my TV apart.
Tune in next week.
So, yeah. Did you hear a noise?
Oh, man. Last guy I was going to talk about... Yeah, we're not doing too good here. Last guy I was going to talk about is Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon. And, yeah, in a committee public hearing, he asked Jay Clapper, do you surveil American people? And Clapper flat out lied. And I just... Here's the thing. What is your privacy worth? I get the fear is if they don't collect the bulk data and a terrorist attack happens, they're going to nail whoever is in office to the wall.
Sure.
Because they're going to say, you could have done that. You could have done more to stop it. But it's never stopped anything.
I think that the keys, like you said, the word bulk data collection, I don't think it should be illegal to collect data at all, like period. But I think that it should, if and when it does happen, it should be targeted and it should have to go through that warrant process. Like, no American for sure, and most likely no foreign national should be allowed to be spied upon without some kind of oversight.
What are your thoughts on the privacy, though? Is your phone records private?
At the end of the day, I want to say it should be.
I think so.
But, you know what, though? Like, if I committed some heinous crime and my phone records are the key to it, I do believe I would like for someone to be able to get a warrant for their review to know if I did commit a crime. It's like you said with that person who started this whole thing with the Supreme Court, right? They just went and got the stuff and then nailed him, right? They invaded his privacy. That was correct. They violated his constitutional rights. But, in my opinion, right, and I'm a trained lawyer, of course, many years on the bar, I really believe, though, that if they would have got a warrant, that it would have made their case much more legitimate for why they went, for actually having obtained that information.
Sure. Totally. But they didn't, in the end, they didn't need it.
No, you're right.
And
it set a terrible precedent.
Right. And why has this not been re-litigated? Why is there nothing?
Because it'd probably have to be some kind of challenge based on some other standard. And I think it's ripe for it now because of the new, like you said, the fact that social media is out there and new technology.
People are waking up.
So much. And it's all out there getting you.
Yeah, people are waking up to what's really going on and why it's not okay. Because, again, we'll go back to that word, that turnkey tyranny. Like, if you're a Trump supporter, sure, you maybe be okay with this right now, knowing Trump's behind the realm. Were you okay with it when Obama was? I mean, for us, flip it. I don't like any of it.
No.
I don't want... If I do something wrong, if I'm a person of interest, sure, get a warrant. Find out that crap, you know? Yeah. But why are you just bulk collecting it? And why do I have no say in what's collected?
Yep.
You know,
what you gonna do with it?
Why can't I opt out of certain things? Why do you have to lump everything into it? Mm-hmm. And what
to was, no end.
Right. What was the app that was listening? Do you remember?
To me?
With Courtney?
I don't know what app listened. But I mean, she didn't tell me, but I'm assuming it was probably Instagram or Facebook popped up a sponsored ad for something.
That's just, you know, and why would Instagram be listening?
Instagram pops up all kinds of ads for our enterprise for me because I do searches on other things on my Safari.
Did you want to get into a little bit of that or do we want to save that for another episode?
I think it might be good to save it just based on the fact that I want to learn some more about the challenges we're experiencing now so we can fully explain everything we've come to.
Yeah, I will say, just to preemptively give a little bit of it, I have a certificate in small business management. You have a master's in business.
Yeah.
And we are finding starting a business to be riddled with unnecessary hurdles.
To qualify this, I earned a master's in business management and administration. Yeah. And my bachelor's is the same thing. So I can manage and administer, but I was not an entrepreneurship major.
That was my thing. And even still, I took small business management.
Your point is well taken, man. We're well educated.
We thought we were well covered on this.
And, I mean, it's very easy to just jump in and even you're just gonna make mistakes when you haven't done things before. That's what I've chalked it up to.
And that's what we want to really document. Like, we don't know where the business lands completely yet.
We will.
But we will be able to present to you a really solid and interesting story about what it really, really takes to start a business.
Yeah, and I think one that's geared toward
small business.
Yeah, and it's toward more of like a, earth friendly. We're trying to not do any harm kind of thing, and
honestly, the struggles we're going would be anybody.
Yeah, no, I just mean that in terms of like the general purpose of it. Like, we're not trying anything extravagant. It's just a normal.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Something low key. Something you think, really, is it that hard? Yeah, it's that hard. It's really that hard.
They make hoops. That you have to jump and put on a show.
Man, 50 minutes. This is our shortest show yet.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's all good.
It is all good.
Yeah, we had a really good topic, I think, and I hope everybody enjoyed that.
Yeah, this is solid. And I would honestly love to know what everyone thinks. I mean, are you comfortable with the bulk data collection? Do you think there should be any caveats that we should be able to put on what data is given? Do you think it's your data because it's about you?
Are you comfortable that people can obtain these scanner things that will get all your information?
Yeah, that was honestly the scariest thing for me. The fact that the police are using it. I mean,
if they can buy these things, I'm sure there's a black market to get them.
Did I tell you the Google thing?
What?
I didn't mention the Google thing, did I? Google, they drive around mapping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And they also map your Wi-Fi.
Yep.
And they are able to know where you are based on proximity of people's Wi-Fi, because there are apps out there that'll let you piggyback off certain Wi-Fis and stuff like that.
Yep.
All more ways to track you.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. I heard that one too.
Yeah, that was in the cell phone minutes. I didn't want to get too far off track.
So much. How is this all unregulated?
It's because it's done out of fear. Anything that says America in it, or what's the other big word? National security, stuff like that. Those are the bills you really need to focus more on, and try to think. I don't know. You need to not be scared. I know that's hard because terrorist attacks are scary.
Yeah.
Like we weren't in New York. We were in high school in the middle of America when 9/11 happened, but it was scary. I mean, they canceled, silly stuff. They canceled our football games. They canceled a lot of stuff.
They were worried about terrorist attacks.
Right. Yeah.
Little did they know we'd still be having them.
I know. And again, at what point do we say, this hasn't helped, so why are we still doing it?
Yeah, it's like the war on drugs. Same thing.
Yeah.
Pharmaceuticals.
Last thing, this is great. Sorry to wrap up with this. The debates.
Yeah.
I got to watch some of them because they were on ABC.
Nice.
Which they should all be on a public channel where everyone can watch them, because it's
for the people.
It's for the people. It makes no sense that these are money-making things for companies. They need to fix that. That's the first law. When I get into politics, that's what I'm going to do day one. You hear? And, but I think that things are getting interesting. The Iowa caucus was a complete and utter failure. It blew up terribly. Right now, I think they're still saying Buttigieg came out ahead with one more vote, caucus.
Percent, right?
Well, he got, delegates.
Yes.
He got one more delegate count than Bernie did. So, I didn't see Buttigieg coming out ahead in Iowa.
That one was a shock to me. I thought Bernie was going to take it away. I thought Biden was going to probably be second.
Yeah, Biden came in fourth is what they're saying.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed in that. I just am a little bit shocked.
Yeah, Biden's debate tonight was, again, he just didn't move me any way, shape, or form. And they were throwing Buttigieg under the bus.
Of course they were. They're afraid of him now.
Well, even the moderators were really trying to nail him down on, they said during your tenure as mayor or whatever, why had the arrest for African Americans for marijuana possessions gone up?
Because he was in direct control of that.
I know. Why? And that's where we're through the looking glass. Why can't he say racism does not have a simple answer?
Well, racism doesn't exist within
but neither do a lot of complex things. Is all I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a simple answer.
No.
Maybe they went up for white people that year too because there was a massive influx of cheap weed or something. Who knows? Like, correlation and causation.
Yeah.
Very different.
These are our thoughts.
These are our thoughts, and I hate to jinx us, but I think next week's going to be solid for us.
Yeah.
We had a whole show planned, and then Brent threw this out there, and I was like into it because I was just.
It's easy to get it wrapped up into because it's your life. Like I'm carrying this thing on me right now.
I know.
I'm like, what is it doing to me?
I know.
It's vibrating right now.
It's not a surprise, right? We can talk about our other show we're doing. The bugs. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Bugs.
Go for it.
Yeah, we're basically just trying to do a show on the pests that are destroying the forests of America.
Yeah.
And from an ecological
invasive
standpoint,
species. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's the emerald boar ash boar. I always mix it
Boar
up. I'm
ash.
sorry, boar ash.
Sure.
Yeah. And then there's another long horned beetle that's destroying like maples and stuff. I'm probably getting the names wrong there, but
help us out, entomologists.
yeah. So that hopefully will be next week's show because it was pretty much all done. It just wasn't exciting. It didn't pair well with impeachment.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna keep branching off, do some different things. Politics is our lives and very interesting, but I think that there's a lot of other things we talk about where.
Looking forward to talk about New Hampshire. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. We'll definitely take a look at some polls too because I gotta be honest, I'm not gonna talk to you about bugs for an hour.
Why not?
I know, right? So we'll throw in some different things, some different segments, if you will, and put together a good show for you. So please come back, tune in, share us. Yeah. We're really trying to get the name out there. We're blowing up. We're blowing up on SoundCloud. That's really been like our niche right now. And so if you're listening to us on SoundCloud, thank you so much. You have been really motivating us to keep at this and make it fun and exciting. Yeah. If you're on Facebook watching this, we love you too, but throw us a comment, all right? And share it. We know who you are. And if you're on YouTube, I think we're about to start advertising on YouTube because we've been doing Facebook. We're going to try some
mix it up.
Some Google advertising. Yeah. Especially after this issue, because I'm sure they've listened to it.
Yes.
And
everyone's listened to it, I bet.
Everybody.
Already.
Everybody. So watch for us in our congressional hearings. And if you don't see us there, we'll be back next week.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Have a nice week.
Take care.